I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, but in 2026, we are not repeating the same toxic money patterns that have been keeping us stuck. We're going to level up properly this time, and it starts with these 5 savings pots that you need. Okay, number 1, you need a Christmas pot. Christmas happens every single year. It is not a surprise. Start in January, so December is not stressful. Number 2, you need a gifts pot. Birthdays, anniversaries, baby showers, they will always come around, so make sure you plan for them rather than leaving yourself scrambling. Next up, if you have any bills that come out once a year, you need a pot for that. Whether it's car insurance, your MOT, home insurance, these can easily wipe you out if you're not prepared, so spread it across 12 months and it's so much easier. Number 4 is an emergency fund, and you don't need to have a £10,000 one straight away. Just start with what's realistic for you, even if it's just a few £100s, because that is enough to stop one bad month from ruining your whole year. And the 5th and final one is have a rainy day fund. This is for those little life happens moments, because those random £20-30 can easily derail your budget, so be prepared for it. Having these 5 pots is guaranteed to make your 2026 easier, so do your future self a favour and start now.
All right. I think you should start now. And one of the things I'm questioning or wondering more and more these days is why so many people use the word savings when what they're actually talking about isn't savings. Like, if you set money aside, that's budgeting. If you put money in pots, that's allocating. It's not saving. But we use the word saving interchangeably, and it causes people to believe that we need to be saving when saving, I believe anyway, is a scam. And I'll go through again why I believe saving is a scam, because first and foremost, I believe the word scam stands for still confused about money. But in terms of saving, why is saving a scam? I believe saving is a scam because the place most people save their money, the bank, when you put your money in the bank doesn't say, oh, that's a great idea. So great that you decided to save. I'm going to do the same thing you're doing. And they take your money and put it in another bank so they can save because you saved. That's not what happens. What happens is you put your money in a bank, and a bank takes that money and goes and invests it. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the bank who get your money from saving use your money to invest. So they value investing more than they value saving. And when we start figuring that out, I can guarantee you life will be better without a doubt. So that's the first thing. I think we should stop interchangeably using the term saving with budgeting, and saving with allocating, and saving with investing when investing is investing. That's the first thing. Now, in terms of the 5 pots, I think this makes sense, but I do have a question. And this is my question. Do you need a Christmas fund pot if you don't celebrate Christmas? I don't know, but let me know in the comments below, because that's the question that came to me. The minute I heard pot number 1, you need a Christmas fund, in my head I was like, yeah, Christmas does come up every year, but there are more people that probably don't celebrate Christmas than the people that do. Actually, I don't know if I can say that in the UK, because what's interesting about the UK is the UK has what I call a Christmas culture, which means even though most people in the UK don't actually celebrate Christmas or whatever they think it means or it's supposed to mean, they still spend during Christmas. And maybe part of that is actually just because the marketing machine gets turned up by most businesses. So maybe that's actually the reason why. So based on that, I think maybe I've even answered my question. I don't know. If I haven't answered the question, you guys let me know in the comments below. But I think I've probably answered the question. Yes, you should have a Christmas fund, even if you don't celebrate Christmas, because throughout the period of Christmas, especially if you live in a country with a Christmas culture, the marketing machines are going to turn up. And unless you can turn your noise cancellation up, you are probably going to be susceptible to buying more stuff, or buying stuff at a higher price. But in most cases, it's buying more stuff. Now, first one, get yourself a Christmas fund. That was my first question. Do you need a Christmas fund if you don't celebrate Christmas? I think we've jumped that hurdle. I assume the answer is yes. Now, in terms of the other pots, I think these pots made sense. Like, effectively, in essence, what I'm hearing the creator basically outline is, for things you know are going to happen, be prepared before they happen. If you know that you're going to have car insurance payments coming out, be prepared for it by having a pot allocated for it. If you know you're going to have certain bills, various bills, electricity, what other bills do people have these days? Electricity, gas, water, council tax, all of these things that people typically pay month in, month out. Have an account or a pot. Okay, I think the creator said that she's rocking with Monzo. It's not paid. It's not a paid ad. Monzo, you can shout me. But yeah, she said she's rocking with Monzo, and she left her referral link in the video. So if you're interested in that, you can go get her link from the description of this video and then go check that out, or just check it out. But like I said, this is not paid promotion, but I will say this, I do actually find it helpful when banks do implement features in their apps like pockets or envelopes or pots or whatever they call them, because they've all got their own names for the same thing. So yeah, shout out to every bank doing that. Right now, the key is underlying the premise inside of all of this content or all of this video is, in essence, be prepared for the things you can be prepared for. And I think I'm a strong believer that when you are prepared for all the things you can be prepared for, a lot less of the things you aren't prepared for happen. Okay. And what I mean by that is, it's not that a lot less of them actually happen. It's just your perception of them is that they happen less often because you're prepared for more things. I think we live in a world more and more where people don't get prepared for what they can be prepared for. And then when things they're not prepared for happen, which is most things, because they haven't been prepared for even things they can prepare for, it becomes a whole big hoopla, problem, like issue, calamity for them, because generally they were not expecting that to happen. Now, I've got my suspicions about where a lot of that kind of mindset comes from and why a lot of that happens, but I'm going to give you the Bible verse, which I think is the most important aspect of this, that helps you circumvent this. Okay. I speak about this a lot, but again, I'm going to continue to do that because repetition is the mother of learning. Matthew chapter 25 tells a story of a master who leaves 3 of his servants with amounts of wealth, and he leaves. Okay. And the Bible says he leaves for a very long time. He leaves one with 5 talents. He leaves another with 2 talents. He leaves another with 1 talent. When he comes back, the one with 5 talents used that 5, invested it, and got 5 more talents. So he's now got 10 talents. The one with 2 used that talent, #invested it, and ends up with 4 talents. And the one with 1 hid his talent or saved his talent and doesn't have any more talents. He's only got the 1. And the master does a reckoning or accounting with these 3 servants, or well, they are servants at the time, with these 3 servants. And the one who had 5, who now has 10, he says, that was great, do it again. That's me. That was me messing around there. But the master says to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have done well with a little. I will now make you ruler over much or over more. Okay. So that's what the master says to the guy who has 5, who turns it to 10. The guy who had 2, who turns it to 4, he gets the exact same proclamation over him. And that teaches us something that I discovered from the Bible years ago, which I think is actually beneficial for you to hear. And that is that God doesn't think in amounts as much as he thinks in percentages. And I think most people don't realize that because most people don't think in percentages. But God sees a guy who takes 5 and creates 10, which is a double. Okay. So 100%, 200% return on investment, 100% increase, right? God sees that, and God says the exact same thing to someone else who has different amounts but produces the same percentage increase. Okay. So the second guy, he has 2, he turned it into 4. Again, 200% increase, 200% return on investment, 100% increase. And God and the master, there you go. The master says to the second servant, he says, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a little, now become a ruler over much. He gets the exact same proclamation as the guy who created the same thing, even though it was with larger amounts. Then we get the last conversation with the servant who has 1 talent and hid it. And this servant says something which always just literally gets my attention. He said, because I knew you, master, because I understood you better than you know yourself, master. Guess what I did? I hid the 1. Because when you came back, I knew you'd want your 1. So here's your 1. Okay, I hid it. I've got it for you, right? And the master says something powerful to him. He says, you're a wicked and slothful servant. And he says to the people around him, he says, take the 1 that he had and take it away from him. And then he says something so powerful. He says, to he who has, i.e. the guy who has 5 or 10, he says, give him that extra 1. So the one who had 5 turned it into 10. He ended up with 11, right? So just want you to see that. The guy who had 2 turned it into the 4. He didn't end up with 5, right? He didn't end up with 5 from that scenario. So although the proclamation was the same, the distribution was not the same, okay? And this tells us something. This tells us that if you deal with more, you're going to be rewarded with more, right? Ultimately, right? But let's get back to this. So he says to this last servant, he says, you're a wicked and slothful servant. He says, take the 1 that he has and give it to the one who turned 5 into 10. And then he says, for to whom has much, more shall be given, and to he who does not have, even the little he has shall be taken from him. Right? Now, in our current day and age, you probably already guessed it. We use the term the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Okay? And we think we made that up. We didn't make it up. That's not just some old adage. That is from the Bible. The Bible, Jesus tells this parable, Jesus tells this story, and this story literally illustrates that. He says, to whom much is given, much more shall be given to him. But to whom much, or to whom little, to whom has he, to he, I keep saying to whom, which is why I'm saying something else. To he who has little, even the little he has shall be taken from him. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. So that's the first thing that's super important. Now, I believe that biblical verse, that biblical concept and context is the exact reason why we have a world right now where people don't prepare for the things they can prepare for. Because people have got too used to not doing the best they can with what they have. And if you understand that being faithful with a little gives you permission to be the ruler over much more than the little you currently have, you will do well to work seriously on what you perceive currently today's little, i.e. in terms of what the creator shared, the pots you have, the current income you have, the current funds you have, the current opportunities you have, in order to allow you to become ruler over much more. And again, I say this so often, but I've got to say it because to me, it's just such a big key for a bigger door. It's such a beautiful, big light bulb. And that is when Jesus says, telling his story, he says something so powerful. He says, when he's talking of the master, he says, you've been faithful with little, now become ruler over much. It astounds me how people want to become rulers. People want to be masters. People want to master something, but they don't first start to serve something. This was the cheat code Jesus embedded inside of that story. If you desire to be a ruler, you must first work on being a servant. It's inside of the story. It's inside of life. You see it because success leaves clues. So if that being said, I'm going to leave you with that. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on this. And as I usually say, like, comment, subscribe if you got value from this video so you can be a part of the tribe. And I look forward to seeing you on another video as you remember that small keys open big doors. Good day. God bless. Let's go.
Small keys open big doors.